What's going on, y'all? It's Big Facts again, coming at you with another video. So I just wanted to do a somewhat brief video, basically to give insight on the truth of the group Black Lives Matter, or the ideological movement of Black Lives Matter. Now, I didn't want to speak on them based on videos that have been made. I wanted to do my own research on it, and from my research that I have found, I've come to actually understand that the Black Lives Matter movement, or the whole ideological framework of it all, is basically a left-leaning ideological group or idea which basically wants to center women or homosexuals in the middle of that movement. They want to be spearheaded by them. They feel basically that homosexuals and women have been marginalized in a lot of the liberation movements, particularly around Black people. They feel like those segments of groups of people have been marginalized, and they want now a new faction to come about, which will be spearheaded by women and homosexuals. This is the truth. And where I want to show you is by a few key points. Now, this is from their website, blacklivesmatter.com. This is from their website. And down there, they had on their 4-year anniversary report, they had this document, this PDF document, which is what you're looking at now. And in there, when you scroll down and you come to the section, her story, the minute I seen the her story, that right there gives it away. When you typically see people change history into her story, they try to take the his part because they think that's more masculine, and try to put her story, flip it around, do those little play on words. That right there was a red flag to me, or some sign that, okay, they are definitely feminist. They're taking a feminist angle at this. So after giving the whole background spiel of the founders here, the organizers, Alicia Garza, Patricia Khan-Cullors, and Opal Tometi, they speak about what brought them about to bring up that group, and, their whole reasoning behind it after the killings of Trayvon Martin by the hands of the murderer George Zimmerman. They go on here and then they say this: Black Lives Matter is an ideological, political intervention in a world where Black lives are systematically and intentionally targeted for demise. It is an affirmation of Black folks' humanity, our contributions to the society, and our resilience in the face of deadly oppression. Just from reading that, I was like, okay, I can get with that. I can understand that. I understand the whole meaning behind it. But as I read further, as an organization who works with everyday people, Black Lives Matter members see and understand significant gaps in the movement spaces and leadership. Black liberation movements in this country have created room, space, and leadership mostly for Black heterosexual cisgender men, leaving women, queer, and transgender people, and others either out of the movement or in the background to move the work forward with little or no recognition. So that right there, let's read this again. As organizers who work with everyday people, BLM members see and understand significant gaps in movement spaces and leadership. Black liberation movements in this country have created room, space, and leadership mostly for Black heterosexual cisgender men, leaving women, queer, and transgender people and others either out of the movement or in the background to move the work forward with little or no recognition. That right there alone, just that right there alone, proved it, period, point blank. This is a feminist / homosexual movement. This isn't necessarily for Black men, though they like to piggyback off of, the oppression of Black men, like the killings of Trayvon Martin. The list goes on. This whole group started because the killing of a heterosexual Black man. All right. The whole killings of heterosexual Black men like Mike Brown at the hands of the Ferguson Police Department. So they want to spearhead this movement, making Black men to be pawns, heterosexual Black men to be pawns. Yet they talk about black women and black women and homosexual blacks have been marginalized, yet their movement is spearheaded by the oppression of heterosexual black males. This doesn't make any sense about this group. So this group is more confused than anything. This just goes to show that this group is very confused. They talk about women and queers, transgender people all being marginalized in, the whole movement, the Black Power movement or Black Liberation movement. Yet, they're making a lot of their headway off of the oppression of other black men, disproving what their statements are. That in true actuality, the most oppressed group in this country when it comes to black oppression is the heterosexual black male. They are the most oppressed. Yet they claim it's women and they claim it's homosexuals. Look, in the mirror case, the most popularized case that we had of a homosexual being mistreated in this country came to be false. And that was a mistreatment of Jussie Smollett, which was actually, I can't even call it mistreatment because he made it all up. So it shows that homosexuals are not being mistreated the way that black males are, black heterosexual men are. Not saying that black women aren't going through anything. They are, but not at the same degree that black men are. Even statistics and data have gone to show when compared with their contemporaries, black women fare better than black men in the economic wealth gap. They fare better than black men. And this is facts. So let's go further to read who we are. The Black Lives Matter Global Network is a chapter-based, member-led organization whose mission is to build local power and to intervene in violence inflicted on black communities by the state and vigilantes. All right, this is who they claim to be. If we go right here further, we affirm the lives of black, queer, trans folks, disabled folks, undocumented folks, folks with records, women, and all black lives along the gender spectrum. Our network centers those who have been marginalized within the Black Liberation Movement. All right. And then there's so-called, marginalization are the people that they listed. Trans folks, black queers, women, undocumented folks. None of this, they don't ever go wrong to mention black men who are actually the most marginalized. And even from the pictures, you can tell here, all these are just black women. Black women. Hardly do you see them feature black men who they treat as pawns. They treat black men as pawns in this. And a lot of black men need to understand because they do not want the black man in the household. And that is a problem, really, in the black community today, that the black man has no control over his household and he has been economically emasculated. They have castrated the black man. Economically in this country. And they are just black. And this BLM movement is just pushing it even further. And I'm here to put this out there so that a lot of black men out there, heterosexual black men, can wake up to this and stop supporting this movement. Even here, look at their guiding principles. When you come down here to their guiding principles, they talk about their guiding principles being what? Queer affirming, transgender affirming, globalism, black families, yet they want the black man. They don't really want to have the black man centered or be in the center of any of these actions. Black women. This doesn't make any sense. We foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from tight grip of heteronormative thinking. Listen to this. We foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather the belief that all in the world are heterosexuals, unless she/he or they disclose otherwise. Wow, this is ridiculous. They list right here as part of their guiding principles are black families, yet they do not want to promote heteronormative ideals. All right. They do not want to promote any of those ideals, but they want to talk about a black family structure. These people are confused. They make no sense, which is why their movement is going absolutely nowhere. And if anything, it is actually bringing much more of a divide amongst the black community. People have to see this. And I'm all for black liberation. I am definitely in support of all that. And I've said it that the main problem is that the black man in this country has to gain economic empowerment. All right. If they want to seek somewhat of equality, or because there's nothing is equal, but if they want to seek equity in this country, they have to regain economic empower. They have to regain that economic power. Economic empowerment must be at the forefront of the black movement, not this kind of stuff. Look at, we build spaces that affirm black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. So basically right there, they are feminists. All right, they said it clear as day. We build spaces that affirm black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. Yet they want to talk about the black family structure. Okay. All right. This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Absolutely no sense. All right. We are self-reflective and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk, especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Give me a break. I want to see the reports on that. I mean, this whole group basically is it's a confused group. All right. A very confused group. When you look at it and you do your research, this is a bunch of lesbian, feminist, leftist women, whatever you want to call them, trying to make their own movements, but using black men as their mascot, using the true marginalization, the true, oppression of black men as their mascot. And they want to rally behind that and make it seem like, oh, they're all for the black man, when in actuality, they are not. Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, all these people, George Floyd, all of these people are heterosexual black men. And they pushing this BLM movement, whereas they do not truly support them. It's clear as day in their whole website. So people have to be cognizant about this, that there is an underlying, reasoning behind this group, and this group definitely wants to put black women and homosexuals at the forefront. This is a black feminist homosexual movement. All right. This is not for black people, or at least black heterosexual men for that matter. This is not it. Even looking at this photo right here. Look at the men here, heads down, just carrying the placard, doing what they do, being led by women at the front. So-called black women at the front. They just want to change that paradigm, because when you look at it, when a lot of these liberal ideological groups, they do not want black men to lead. They look at black men as some sort of mascot, as some sort of pawn in this whole movement and everything that they do. All right. Because they know this is why this whole BLM movement has necessarily not been has not been faced any real takedown, because the powers that be know that any group led by women and homosexuals, because they face a lot of, how would I put it, identity issues. They are already not collectively together. They are basically disorganized. They know that if it's being spearheaded by people like that, they know that group is not going to last, that group has no real power. Why were they so threatened by groups like the Black Panther Party, who were led by black men? Because these guys actually had a direction. They actually had a goal and agenda that they rallied around, a group of people, not just black men, but all black people. Look at the group like the Nation of Islam. Why are they threatened by them? Because they know these are led by black men who have all one understanding, same as the Black Panther Party, that they want to seek nothing but sheer independence for black people, economic independence. Not this, where they're looking for some sort of rainbow coalition. Like I said, Black Lives Matter is parading as some sort of black liberation group, but underlying it is a homosexual feminist movement. And it's clear as day in their website, all right? So you guys take your time, read these things. This is all out in the public for everybody to see. Nothing is being hidden. Nothing at all. Even from this picture. Once again, the black man just being a sidekick to the black woman. All their photos, everything that they're doing. But it's all there for you guys to see. I want to hear what y'all have to say. Like, comment, subscribe down below. I'm out.